What's up, what's up, what's up, everybody? How you guys feeling out there? What is the word? How you doing? Hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, guten tag. God, what else am I missing here? I don't know. But how you guys doing out there? This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and I am coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. That's right. This is oh, whoa, I totally did the wrong link there. And oh boy, I didn't mean to fade to black. Again, it is a thing. I'm still recovering from a couple of things and doing my best to be out there. Let's see here. What is the thing I'm looking for? No. Oh, darn. Yeah, like I said, this is a lot of stuff that's coming out there, just doing its thing and all that jazz. How you guys doing? And welcome to the dark side of the room. Now, this is the show where we talk about nerd culture, the stuff we do as nerds, and how those things, those nerdy things, okay, those nerdy things that we all love doing, that we do with what seems to be impunity, can actually affect the lives that we live and the way that we like to do things. So, with all that, I want to say what's up to all of my people out there, and we got a show for you guys today. I'm letting you guys know that right off, and I mean, like, seriously, we got a show. I know the past couple of days have been heavy. They've been heavy on me. I've been talking to you guys about stuff, and I want to thank everybody who's been reaching out, like, seriously, reaching out for with support, rather, for all the stuff that I talked about on Monday. I mean, this has really become a community, and honestly, I'm loving how we're doing this. If you guys wondering why I'm looking off screen, it looks like I accidentally erased something, and I'm trying to find it here in the place that I'm looking for. I'm actually looking for the invite to the server for our Discord. I know. I am so Mr. Organized, aren't I? But yeah, so what am I looking for? Server profile, edit, create channel, server, inside server, boot, invite people. That right there. That's what I'm looking for. Boom, there we go. Alright, found all the stuff that we needed so that I can do this. Haha, that's right. I got everything up there. How you guys doing? And of course, I want to say a special what's going on to all the people out there that, you know, are in the Decker community, have served the Decker community for the past few years, and are, well, we got some new folks in here too, and you guys are really doing some good stuff. I don't want to say pulling your weight, because being a Decker does not come with obligations and stuff like that. At least not for you guys. For me, lots. But before we get started doing all of that jazz, I'm going to say, if you guys got any questions or comments or anything like that, well, feel free to send me an email at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. And you guys can also hit me up on the social media that we all have and nobody likes. All right, and that is that right there is YouTube, or should I say Instagram and Twitter. Seriously, that does a whole bunch. And this is the part where I start begging. Okay, gotta do that thing. I'm really begging you guys to subscribe to the channel. I did a whole thing on Monday about what I'm up against, what I'm trying to do here, and how I'm trying to make sure that everything that we have been doing, we can continue to do, even in the face of haters and crabs, all right? But for that, I do need your guys' help by subscribing to the channel here on Twitch, or hitting the Patreon. That's right, I got a Patreon. The YouTube channel isn't big enough to be like, hey, try the membership. In truth, YouTube don't care about anybody who has under 5,000 subscribers. And I think we're up to a little under 300. So, you know, they're not even Spartans even. So it's not like we can fight the Persians or anything like that. But if you were to head over to the Patreon, link in the description and all that stuff, at patreon.com/BID_P and become a patron, that would really help out a lot. Okay? It would help us be able to stay open, help me be able to keep up the stuff that we've been working on, and it will seriously keep the community outreach going and all that jazz. All right. So now that we got all that out of the way, I wanted to talk today about teamwork. All right. But before I do that, I'm going to give a massive shout out to my patrons. All right. These are my patrons on the royalty tier. That's $20 a month or higher. Being on my queen tier, we got Shannon Boom Boom Lay, Jennifer Kroll, Laura Holton, Chaley Watson, Noel Olheiler, Frank Perkins. On our king tier, we got Christopher Chalmers, Laura Gross, and Daryl Couch. Thank you very much, guys. And of course, our ace in the hole, Joseph Hines. Seriously. And major shout out. Like, Joseph is becoming the Decker of the year with all the stuff that he does on the ground to spread the word and to help out places in his community with Back in the Deck's help and all. So that is seriously, real talk, like heart, soul, we got you. All right. So today I wanted to talk about teamwork. All right, serious teamwork. And what does that mean? You know, a lot of people say there's no I in team, and there's your team, and all that other stuff. And the real talk behind all that stuff. You know, it's funny. Not a lot of people are here right now. Let's see who's in the chat at the moment. We got Black and White Now in Color, Insinkable, not a Mr. Beast contest, Insinkable, Neon Uber. Thank you guys for showing up. And who do we got over here in on YouTube? I'm just double checking the YouTube. No one at the moment. And you know, I put out announcements on all the social media like every day that I mean Twitter, TikTok, my personal Facebook, the Back in the Deck Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, you know. So I put that stuff out there, and sometimes it gets kind of discouraging. But anyway, let's talk about, let's seriously talk about, oh, Daryl, all right, cool, yeah, what's up? My little thing in the chat that says participants, it just showed me, so, but yeah, so let's talk about teamwork. And what do I mean by teamwork? Well, this is where I start talking serious stuff, but bear with me, I always wrap it into our hobbies, all right? People who play RPGs and read comic books and all that stuff. Yeah, you know what? I believe YouTube is lying. You know, YouTube, like, I don't even say that their pants are on fire. I say that most of YouTube is made from fire, especially their lower body. Like, their pants on fire, their legs, their feet, their toes. Like, Quentin Tarantino would probably, like, make a fire-based fetish video about YouTube. Just, you know, all that kind of thing. But a lot of people that do this stuff, the tabletop miniatures games, the role-playing games, the comic books, the fantasy novels, yes, it's mainstream now, okay, but That's a talk for a different day, because what is mainstream right now is also anxiety, disenfranchisement, a whole lot of other things. Okay. And one of the things that it's the responsibility of people with platforms to do is to remind everyone out there, new, old, all that stuff, because we need reminders every once in a while, that we are not the only people at the table. All right? That is huge. That is super, super, super big. We ain't the only ones playing. And what do I mean by that? Well, I spend a lot of time teaching people from my neighborhood. My neighborhood is so famous, it is specifically the definition of neighborhood. Like, you know, this isn't just my neighborhood. This isn't even just my hood. I am from the hood, not a hood, the hood. And when I try and teach my folks how to play D&D or Vampire the Masquerade or Shadowrun or Esper Genesis or Cyberpunk or whatever it is that I'm trying to teach them. And Nominate is a tough one. I run in to what I call the disenfranchised problem, okay? And I see this a lot in my community. I see it in the rural poor. I see it in LGBTQ+. I see it in women, all right? And that is this. When you live a life where it feels like you're under siege all the time, and I say feels like, let alone is actually observable, but just feels like you're under siege all the time, we forget how to be team players. And I don't just mean we forget how to operate on a team and we all just think about number one, but we also forget what it's like to think about what our purposes are and how they affect the people around us. All right? When I first moved back to the hood, I saw it in one major place, and that is traffic. All right? In South Los Angeles, everybody drives like they don't trust that the light won't turn red. All right? I'll give you an example. There is an old joke of a person standing in line for days and days and days and days and days, and they finally get to the window, and instead of being told you're at the wrong window, go back there, they get to the window and either the bank is out of money or the bank is now closed and the window gets slammed in front of their faces. Now, this is what it's like to be disenfranchised. And I wanna create a line, because there are people that feel as though they're disenfranchised, but from my observations and my study, these people feel that way not because that is their life, but they are afraid that their lives will become that. And thank you for the question, Daryl. Actually, yes and no. Is Esper Genesis about psionics and physics? You only know about psionics in the next human evolution, right? The terms. Sorta. It's a little bit implied, but Esper Genesis from Alligator Alley Games is essentially 5th edition in space. There are psionics but there's also laser gun pew pews, but there's also the spell book from most of the spells from the D&D Player's Handbook. I take it to people that culturally are not European American through origin, because fantasy tends to be based on the idea that it's medieval Europe, and Americans have this idea that medieval Europe plus brown skin equals, let's say, hard work and singing. Yes, it's a lot more like Starfinder. It's a lot like a lot of people confuse it for Spelljammer, but the thing is, Spelljammer is magic powered stuff, and it is fantasy in space, but everything is sailboats and magic spells and stuff like that. But as for Genesis, is warp engines, laser guns, lightsabers, things like that. So as I was saying, yeah, where was I at? Oh, yeah. So as I was saying, a lot of people feel that kind of disenfranchised because they're afraid that one day it could, or one day it might happen to them, versus the people who do live with it. So the people in my neck of the woods, they drive like, oh no, I ain't missing that red light, or I ain't letting that light turn red. And we get so many traffic jams in our main streets because everybody wants to make the light. And if it's like, I have this thing when I'm driving where if I'm the last dude in line and there's nobody behind me, then I won't slow down to let somebody cross, because they can wait until I pass. There's nobody behind me. But if there are people behind me and there's been a long line of people in front of me, I'll let somebody pass, it's fine. Or I'll let somebody cross the street, that's fine too. Because it's only holding me up for 11 seconds, you know. Yeah, it is that we are late, okay? Or that we might run late. But again, the point that I'm making here is when we are in that mindset, we are not thinking about how our driving actually affects the rest of traffic. Just like when we're at the table and we don't think about how looking out for ourselves could cause our party to be killed. You know, it could end the game. In the archives, there is my Warp Tumblr's Dark Matter game, and this game, all black people, all right. And one of them had played 3 games before me, and the rest of them not once. And one of the characters was in a boss battle. Now, she didn't realize she was in a boss battle, or she realized it and she was. That's a different episode. But she realized that she was in a boss battle. She tried playing to her character's strengths, and when the rest of the party got there, they looked at her and, well, they did what black people say that they're going to do every time we're watching a movie. You got this. Nope. They were so looking out for themselves that they literally almost let another player die. Because, no, man, I ain't doing that. It's one of those things of, dude, it's a monster. We can beat it. I don't know. We got teeth, don't it? Yeah, I'm good, yo. I'm good. You get on with that. And this is an interesting thing, because when I was talking Monday, I was thinking about one of my friends when I told him what was going on in my life. And he was like, he was talking about, this is why our people can't have nothing, because everyone is so desperate to get theirs individually that they tear the family apart. And that's the thing. And may the 4th be with y'all, by the way. You know, I mean, seriously, that's the whole thing. Now, right now in the United States of America, we have that on an epic scale. Some people are trying to push their beliefs into federal law. And I look at it like cooking. Okay, I really do. I look at it like cooking. I love a lot of things in this world. And games and food are literally in the top 5. All right, games and food. But one of the things I cannot deal with is when somebody goes like to a cookout, right? And they add their individual favorite thing to something that's for everybody. All right. I had this. There was this moment where I don't like spicy food. Okay, I don't like spicy food. I don't like food that I have to train in order to eat. All right. I don't think that doing something that you would literally die without doing should require endurance exercises. And people are like, nah, man, spicy food is this. Once you get past the heat, it tastes good. I'm like, you see, if I have to get past the heat, it's not worth eating. Okay? If I have to suffer in order to enjoy, I ain't with it. So it's like you're doing like a cookout or something, And I'm making greens that everybody will like because they got just the right amount of vinegar, they got the savory, they got the sweet, they got a great flavor profile. And then somebody that likes spicy food, instead of putting the hot sauce on their share, like they get their greens out of the pot, they put them on their plate, and they can cover it in hot sauce all they want. Nope, they come in and they just put a bottle of hot sauce in the whole pot because greens are supposed to be spicy. All right, and this is the thing. All right, yeah, ketchup and sausage, but here's the thing. I'm a big dude I'm a big advocate for do what you're gonna do with your stuff. Do what you're gonna do with your life. Do what you're gonna do in your game. All right. Yeah, even like the chat's going off. Like, yeah, ketchup, alcohol, olive oil. I get it. All right. I'm a big dude. Oh, Fried One, I adore you. And by the way, happy May the 5th. He's over the international date line, guys. So yeah, and I'm pointing his stuff out because spicy is not a replacement for seasoning. Heat does not equal taste. If that were the case, we would be talking about how good irons taste. All right. So, being a citizen of a country, being a member of a team at work, being part of a group at school, and being in a D&D party all comes from the same principle. Even if you are out for yourself as a character, you are still playing a game with other people for the purposes of playing a game, which is generally to have fun. All right. And that's the thing. This is where my snowflake friends on the left talk about bullying. All right. The whole idea of a bully on any level is someone who forces their way onto everyone else, whether everyone else likes it or not. And they can do it verbally, they can do it physically, they can do it on the net. Whatever way they do it, the principle is they are deciding how and who you do things, and they take away your agency in making your own decisions. All right. I talked yesterday. I'm not a big believer in laws that have nothing to do with public safety. All right. So I can believe what I want all day. I will probably never vote for a legislation to make my beliefs mandatory law. And when I say mandatory, I mean either mandatory to do or mandatory not to do. You see what I mean? So that's where it's at. But when I'm at the D&D table, I've seen a lot of people do this. I've seen a lot of people have their own idea of what a game is, how a game is supposed to be played, and they close the door to any other way to do it. What do I mean? Well, if you guys watch Warp Tumbler C24, those are some of my favorite games to run. Okay? Kind of sort of neon. It's let's do that particular thing for this group of people, i.e. let's ban clothing made of mixed fibers for us, but not for other people. All right? That's the whole thing. But like I said, in C24, these players love diplomacy. They love talking their way out of situations. They love coming to compromises. They love working as a team. Is that the way to play role-playing games? Yes and no. It is the way to play in C24 with these players. But is that the way that everybody is supposed to play D&D or Shadowrun or Anomaly or Esper Genesis or anything like that? No, there isn't. There is a matter of individual and group autonomy. Now, I love the European model of freedoms and autonomy, meaning you have your autonomy and individualism to the point where you exercising your autonomy and individualism interferes with someone else using theirs. You know, which means you can put ketchup on your steak all you want. You are free to do that. You come to my table with that bottle, they're gonna be words. All right. You know, you can put hot sauce on your steamed carrots or your shrimp all you want, but don't put them on mine. Don't come over to my plate. Yeah, don't come over to my plate putting your hot sauce on my shrimp. All right. I mean, real talk. All right, because it's my shrimp, you ain't eating them, and I'm with that. Now, that doesn't mean that there are easier ways to do things or more complicated ways to do things, but I'm an advocate for personhood. Personhood means individuality, cognitive thought, freedom of actions that don't take away other people's freedom of actions. You know, that's what I mean with you do you. Every person's a person, every person's got rights, and that's it. All right, so my beliefs I don't want legislated into law, although they should be. But I do want to make it very clear that the law should not be legislated to prevent my beliefs. You get what I mean? So when we're at the D&D table, we need to work as a team, but how do we do that? Well, as any team project goes, it all comes down to communication. I am a hard person to deal with I'm a hard person to deal with in bad faith. I've spent my entire life arguing with narcissists and bad faith actors and bullies and all that stuff. All right, seriously. And some of them are outwardly aggressive, some of them are intentional, and a good amount of them just are ignorant of how their actions negatively affect others. Okay? But I'm the bad person to come to about that. Give me a minute. I am that guy that starts asking questions. Right? Moral is ill-defined. Exactly, Fried One. I'm with you 100%. But I start asking questions, like really asking questions. And I apply broad concepts universally, sometimes to show people how absurd their ideas are, but mostly for me to understand how functional or not functional certain ideas can be. All right? I got into it with someone at the game store because he used a word. I don't know if I should use that on this channel, so let's just call it what it was. I'm thinking of an anagram real quick. Give me a minute. Okay, yeah. A silent listening utilitarian terrorist as a pejorative. And I'm like, hold up, stop. I just need to know something, okay? I'm going to ask you this because I'm a little offended by what you said. Number one, you're calling this woman that word. Can you tell me what's wrong about promiscuous behavior? Can you tell me what's dangerous about it or what's so morally wrong? Well, I mean, it did blah, 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 dirty, unclean. I'm like, hold up, dirty and unclean because they've had a certain body part inside them. Like a certain body part inside them makes them bad, useless, dirty, and immoral. Well, yeah, I'm like, but you have that body part. So what you're saying is that body part that you have that makes people bad. Let's apply this. Let's really apply this to something. That person is a clean sheet. And if that body part that you have through no fault of your own dirties up that clean sheet, you're telling me that it's the sheet's problem? Sounds to me like you're saying that you and I are made of dirt. Because seriously, like, and second, in a more practical way, you know, I actually talked to him about adult things and techniques and things like that. And I'm like, when we go for a job interview, the people who have the most experience are hired. So we live in a world where we give the job to the people that have done the thing the longest. And you're telling me that it's better to have no experience? I'd like you to tell that to your heart surgeon. You know, and the people at the store were just having fun watching me tear this guy down, but I was trying to prove a point. And the point that I'm trying to prove is he can bleed out all he wants, but he was insulting someone for something that has no practical, observable bearing on their legitimacy. Okay? I've been in relations with a lot of people. That doesn't make me not intelligent. It doesn't take away my education. It doesn't take away my, like, anything that I can do. It doesn't mean that I haven't lived the life that I have. It's just part of the life that I have. All right? Oh my God. The next time you're doing that fried one, put in some capital letters in the wrong spot. Because, yeah, I get, oh no, they'll try extra hard. You know, the hypervigilance is great, but the competence is what's really important. Anyway, but in conversation, he was forcing his beliefs onto everyone that was listening, and I had to speak up about it. You know, I really did. I was the one that had to speak up about it because I'm like, bro, you can do better than that. I know that you can do better than that because you are a human being with a brain functional enough to know how to play kill team. So you can think you're playing a strategy game with a lot of rules. I know you got a brain in your head. Use it. Or don't use it, but don't inflict your poor calculations on other people as though they are reality. Says the guy who runs a YouTube channel and a Twitch channel about what it's like to be a gamer and how people should treat each other. It seems my hypocrisy knows no bounds. But how do we apply this with a team? Well, I'm a big guy when it comes to listening to what everybody's ideas are, and I ask the questions. I ask a lot of questions, and I'm like, okay, if everyone is being truthful about their character's motives, this is what I think we should do. I think we should do what's best for this. And sometimes people agree, sometimes they don't. But what I don't do is go through all those calculations and stuff with the expectation that people are going to do what I suggest. And nor do I try and force people to do what I suggest. It takes me back to the American movie from 1985, The Breakfast Club. The criminal character who had been running through the hallways and dodging detention for months was telling them where to run, where not to run, all that stuff. And the jock was like, no, we go this way. And they had to fight, but the jock was vying for superiority for whatever reason that they were doing. And it led them to a gated hallway that that literally trapped them. You know? And I'm just like, yep, that's kind of how it is. One of my favorite characters from movies when I was growing up was Willy Wonka. I love the no, stop, don't, help, police, murder, you know. But the big important thing is that I know a lot of ways to do a lot of things. But even in the odd calculated moment that I'm the smartest man in the room, I understand the responsibility of that strength being this. The smartest guy in the room is the one that really understands that they have something to learn from everyone else. When I was young and in martial arts, my instructors would be like, I learned something new every time you come to class. And I'm like, what do you mean? I am not trying to teach you anything. I just have no coordination. And they said, you know what? You'll get it when you're a teacher. And I'm like, I am not going to be a teacher. I am an actor. I am acting. And they said, okay, cool. Well, 30 years later, when I was a teacher, I learned and continue to learn so much from every person that I teach something to. I learned more about the world that I presently live in versus the one that I grew up in. I learn what people today are more concerned about than they were back in my day. Like example, when I was coming up and learning all these geeky habits, smoking was cool and D&D would get your butt kicked. You sit up on the lunch at the lunch yard reading any book from Dragonlance, and you were that nerd that's reading all these fantasy novels. Quick, kick him, And now everybody's reading those books with the pointy-eared people that are fleet-footed. And the big complication now is I don't want to mess up everything for everybody. I don't know what to do when I'm around other people. And I'm going, wow, this is interesting. This is the new thing. This is one of the reasons I love talking with my offspring, because they are at an age where they are plugged into much more in the working world and the social world and on the internet than I am. Just as I was more plugged in my 20s than my parents and grandparents and great-grandparents. That's just the way the world works. And this is the mindset that I want people to come in with, okay? I really do. I really want them to come into gaming and comics and hobbies and stuff. But what do we have? Well, today, we seem to have a world full of people that are really angry that they individually got a raw deal, okay? And in truth, a lot of the times, yes, Fried One, that could be every interaction if a person had that mindset. Any interaction can teach you something new, and if you're very, 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 very lucky or smarter than I am, each of those something news can be useful. But we live in a time right now where a lot of people are very angry about them getting a raw deal, okay? They're unhappy with their lives and they want theirs, okay? They want their beliefs to be not just universally recognized, but universally recognized as the only set of beliefs that counts. With my people in the disenfranchised sectors, I'm always trying to push the point that, yeah, you guys have it hard, but your hardness, your difficulties do not invalidate the difficulties of others, just like the difficulty of others don't invalidate yours. I'm a 6'4" cishet neurodivergent black man. I have got a litany of complications. I've got an entire country that has never actually wanted my well-being and has shown that when well-being amongst my kind is gotten, it will be taken away either by financial or military force. And does that mean that the LGBTQ community doesn't have that problem? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that whatever problems the disabled community are going through are not problems? No, this is my set of problems. You have your set of problems, and I'm all about solving problems. That's where I'm like, ooh. One of my big things is looking at the through lines, or looking at, I guess you can say, looking at the most damage done and fixing the most damage done. And I have a really long-term view. A really, really, really long set view of solving problems in this order will benefit the most people in the fastest time. All right? Like, seriously, I am 100% there. That is where I'm at. Now, I have my order of operations, and we're not here to talk about that order of operations. But we are here to talk about the idea that though I do have an order of operations, and I would love it to be law, I would not force the law except in ways that benefits the most people and not harms the most people while telling me that I'm right. All right. Let's see. We got Fried One. I think quoting someone with this joke, but it goes like this. And America says, I don't understand this. What's wrong with you? The European says, I don't understand this. What's wrong with me? And the American mindset takes over here as well. Yeah. I really like that joke. That's a good joke. That's a really good joke. Because it does give a very real insight to a lot of things. I've talked a lot about narcissism on this channel. We were talking about narcissistic parents, leading through to a lot of things. And yeah, that idea of I don't understand something, what is wrong with you, is what I've been taught as textbook narcissism. You know, the idea that I can't be wrong. My mindset is not wrong. I've had a lot of people over the course of my life, but specifically when I was in my 20s, that had this idea of the answer that they come up with is the right one because they've worked really hard at coming up with that answer. And you couldn't get more American with a transfusion. Because one thing I've learned over the course of my life is you can work as hard as you want, but if you're working on the incorrect thing for your purposes, you'll never get to the right answer. You know, you'll never get to the desired outcome. What do I mean by this? I equate it to fixing cars, okay? If your transmission is shot and you change the tires, you can work really hard on changing that tire, all right? You could stretch and strain and get those bolts off and you know, but that ain't gonna fix your transmission because as hard as you're working, you're not working on the thing that's actually wrong with the car. And this is a big thing. Now, when we are in group settings, there's a stable saying of don't forget that you're not the only one at the table. But there are a few amendments with that because only one kind of roleplay terrorist forgets that they're the only one at the table. All right. And that one, let me pull up my notes here. Hang on. I gotta find it here. Nope, not there. Nope, not there. It's probably in that one. Nope. Nope, not that one. Oh, did I close that thing? Well, either way, the only one is what I like to call the star. Okay? They are the star of the game. That is what they're there to do. They're like, I'm playing this game and I am the main character and all of that stuff. And they forget that there are other people there. All right? But that's only one kind of roleplay terrorist who doesn't get at the core of being in a group or being in what's called an ensemble cast. These are the people that try and monopolize the DM's time. They're always having a new idea. They're trying their thing. They don't really care about the interactions. They're just all about doing what they want to do, regardless of how it affects the plot, the mechanics of the game, and the time of everyone else at the table. All right, they just forget. It just becomes all about them, much like when we're playing a video game. All right. But the other bad, like my least favorite, if you hadn't noticed, is the bully. Okay, the bully / control freaks. That's the one that puts their hot sauce in the communal pot of greens. All right. My people from the South are about to get mad at me, but I like sugar in my grits. So if I'm making grits for me, there's going to be sugar in that pot. But if I'm making grits for other people, that sugar is going in my bowl. All right, because some people just like salt and pepper. It's a thing. But the fact of the matter is, yeah. But the fact of the matter is, the bully does their best. Okay, that to tell other people what to do, game the way that they game, because their way is the only way to do it. And sometimes the bully can come in the form of a murder hobo. Sometimes it can come in the form of an evil player that's playing a good character. Sometimes it can come in the form of the overtalker. All right, but these are the people at the table that, through passive-aggressive means or outwardly aggressive means, try and control how other people play their characters and play the game, because their core belief of how the game is supposed to be played takes precedent over what the game actually is. And this isn't just for Dungeons and Dragons, okay? This is any group setting. One of the biggest places I saw great teamwork in action was at a blackjack table at a casino. This was when I was first learning the game, and I thought it was me against the house, so I'm playing. But I've got the rest of the table saying, no, don't hit that. Don't take the dealer's 10. You know, or, oh, you're third base. That's a hard decision. You want to switch chairs? I'm like, oh my God, the players are playing as a team so that all of them win and the casino loses. I love this game. And honestly, I do. I really, really, really do. It is actually the card game of choice for me at any casino. Okay, I really like sitting at a full table where everyone's going, all right, hold up. Yeah, don't take that card. All right, you're sitting on a 14. Yeah, just sit on it. It's a 50-50 for you, but don't screw the table. And I'm like, all right, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. I like how this is going. Versus what people think most games are, which is competitive. I don't even want to know, Neon Arlecchino, because I don't believe it happened. I don't see any pics, no memes, nothing on the Discord server that. So I don't believe you. I don't think it happened. You know, yeah, that's a very long and adult way of saying pics or it didn't happen. Here's the Discord server. Anyway, so when it comes to teamwork, what does it mean to really be a team? Well, here are the through lines on everyone's belief, okay? A team is a bunch of people working toward a common goal, all right? That is one of the biggest things. Bunch of people working toward a common goal. I find that when groups start there, we all want to accomplish the same thing right now. Teamwork has a larger than 50% increase because everyone wants the same thing. Now, it can be super reductive, like we're all trying to get paid, or we're all trying to save the village, or we're all trying to make sure that the Dark Wizard doesn't destroy the world. But the very first agreement, the very first common thing, especially in role-playing games, is we're all here to have fun. Now, everything beyond that is sort of a branch because it comes down to how do people have fun? What would be a decent way of accomplishing this? Some players like to go the super efficient route. Some players like to go the super awesome route. Some players like to get so involved in their characters that they can't agree on that part. Okay, but coming to an overall agreement as to why the team is together. Now, one of the things that I do, and you can talk about this as a bonus thing. This is hard to do when you do stuff online because the character sheets are not equipped for this. But one of the things that I tend to do, and this is a session 0 thing that I incorporate into a lot of my games when I get a group of players who are doing character creation at session -1, okay? And that, -1, not session 0, because character creation is a day. And I was able to advise a new GM, if you got new players, do not start with letting them create their own characters. That's a day, and that sets a foundation of, the game is about creating characters. One of the things that I do is I do a homebrew. I do a homebrew add-on to 5th edition D&D, which is something that I took from the Fate system. I like to add on a second ideal and a second flaw to every character, but those ideas and those second flaws are assigned to each character by another player in the party. In the Fate system, these are called aspects. I put them on as backgrounds, and I count them as the blind spot system. Because in White Wolf, this was something I really liked in the White Wolf system. They had, instead of alignment, they had a nature and demeanor system. I.e., your nature is how you really were, but your demeanor was what you presented to the world. Okay? And the two could often be at odds. Like, in truth, my nature is idealist, my demeanor is curmudgeon. But one of the biggest and most major things that I have noticed, hey, may the 4th be with you too, Antoine. One of the things that I like implementing about this system in game is that it forces my players to think about the other players and how their characters would interact or have interacted before. I call these blind spots because every single one of us has an idea of who we are, but, and this is really big, we have blind spots in how we are perceived by others. And that is not a bad thing. Most people are afraid of yes, you're in the right timeline. Most people are used to hearing their blind spots being pointed out because someone's pointing out a negative aspect about them. All right. However, most people are my age, and that's really how it goes. See, we got Vixabel and Black and White now in color ganging up on me in the chat right now. Where thank you, which is, but that plays directly into the point that I'm talking. I may think I'm a curmudgeon, but that's not how I'm perceived. This right here, that aspect right there is why I put those things into the system. Okay, that is why I allow my 5th edition players, actually I encourage them, to create or pick a secondary flaw and a secondary ideal for a different character. What does your character see in someone else that they may not see in themselves? Sometimes a lot of those things can be very positive. It's like, yeah, you may, I have a friend who, he's a snob in a lot of ways, but he has this public persona as neutral. He just doesn't care. He doesn't think about this stuff. And I'm like, I notice how every time you play a video game or read a novel, you always side with the people who do the most good for the most people, and whether or not a person is honorable, you're judging their morality on good and bad. I don't think you're neutral. But that's me assigning that ideal to my friend. You see what I mean? He might be neutral, but, he might be neutral in thought, but have a wish for things to be better. Don't know. But when we work together, I can play toward the aspect of him that I see in his behavior, all right? Or that I see in his opinions about things. And when we're in a group setting, when we are playing a game, I know a lot of people who, even when they play neutral characters, will not allow players to do bad things. And when I say bad things, I mean like torture, I mean steal from the poor, I mean, they have a very strong moral compass that they try and assign to everyone at the table. All right. I call them anemic gamers, in the sense of once the bleed happens between character and real life, it just doesn't stop. They just bleed out all over the thing. So yeah, that's really, really, really a big part about working with people, being on group projects, being in a gaming party, all right? Or living in a freaking society. The important thing here, the too long don't read, the big takeaway on today's discussion can come down to this. When you're dealing with a party, what does it mean to be in that party? What are your motivations for being in that party? And does the party work to strengthen itself or to bring most benefit to itself? All right. Preferably without harming things that aren't in that party. Like I said, right now in the United States, we live in a country or a culture that's very angry that they haven't seemed to, that they feel that they've been given a raw deal. I can see a lot of ways that they have, which is why I can speak with people on all end of the political spectrum, because I understand that they're unhappy. Where I start to get into fights with people is, are you trying to be happy, or are you trying to punish those who you think makes you unhappy? Are you trying to fix the problem or punish the people responsible? And once I get the stock standard answers, well, both, of course, I'm like, okay, well, how is that accomplishing your goal? When you're in a group setting, you have to ask that question. Are you doing this for the highest amount of success or for revenge? And this is a big thing. I'm a big fan of justice. And when I say justice, I mean just that. The repairing of wrong, the fixing of things. Yes, vengeance versus justice, and restorative justice instead of punitive justice. I'm a big dude on taking away the reasons that a person would do something terrible. All right? I mean, it's real simple. Most theft comes from poverty. So if everybody has everything that they need to live with dignity, theft would go down incredibly. Most people try and stand superior over people because they feel inferior somewhere else. All right? This is why I don't just write off Karens. Okay? Because of the old adage, hurt people hurt people. All right? And a lot of people do this type of thing because they come from a paradigm of, if somebody has hurt me and I can't get back at them, I'm going to hurt someone else because I will not be the person on the bottom of the totem pole. I don't believe in a totem pole as much as I believe in a round table. No one at the head, no one at the butt. And I believe that power and leadership should come with heavy responsibility and a huge amount of work. Only because I've seen through history that the way that power and authority wielded with those things in mind produce better results for the most people. All right. Versus, it is my power to do with what I want, and I will make you pay. You know, it's like, okay, you've made them pay, now what? You know? No, I'm not talking about Madame Guillotine, but, you know, if you want to really ask that question, my answer is this. Yes, it does, Daryl, and thank you for bringing that up. Power does reveal the worst in us, and I seriously believe that, say, people who control the housing authority need to live in a trailer park or a slum near a lead plant for like a year. You know, maybe we can get rid of redlining if the people that draw the red lines have to live within those districts. You know, I think that people in charge of the budget need to live only with the resources that the poor has. You know, I said one time, if Congress had to live on the federal minimum wage, it would raise really quickly. But when you're in a group, that is the really big thing. When I see players argue over whose idea to go for, I do tend to stop the game and I pull the arguing players aside. And well, Daryl, I wouldn't say that power reveals the worst in us, but power reveals what we can be. Okay? Again, kind people with power tend to use that power for more kindness. Cruel people who are cruel at their hearts with power tend to use that power for cruelty. Frightened people, once they get power, tend to use that power to make sure that they themselves are never frightened again. If we lived in a world with more empathy, things would be a little better. That's just my thought. But where was I going before I answered that whole thing? What was it? Man, lost my train of thought. So it must not have been that important. But yeah, no, not Madame Guillotine. You know, that's really not the big thing. When it comes to working in a group setting, I do pull those two people aside and I ask what is at the core of what they're arguing about, because they're tearing down fun for everyone else in the game. So instead of saying leave that issue outside because I don't like broad statements that don't come with direction, I literally sit them down and I'm like, okay, look, you guys are arguing with each other about the best thing. Pitch it. What is the merit and what are the drawbacks? Go. Okay, what are the merits and what are the drawbacks that you can see? Okay, go. Now, what are the drawbacks to their plan that you see? Well, I don't think it's going to work. Why? Well, having listened to how they came across their thing, or did you listen? You know, well, I wasn't really listening. Okay, then you're out. Get back to the table. We're going back to this. And yeah, I end up having to take over people's characters. Not because that's how D&D is played, but because a person at the table that's gumming up the works take away from any play, you know. Do I let them back at the table? Maybe after I have a one-on-one talk with them to explain why I made the decision I made, what their effect was having on the entire game as a whole. And I'm learning to do that more because there's so little oxygen in the room that one person can do something that takes all the oxygen out of it for everyone else. So, thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Let me know what y'all think about being in group projects and teamwork. And when it comes to, what you guys think of when it comes to handling the way that you guys think a group should be run, and what experiences that you've had. If you're here on Twitch looking at us, that would be awesome. However, Twitch doesn't really have a comment section, but they do have the stream chat. So just head over to the Solar Gray YouTube channel and leave that stuff in the comments. Daryl and Antoine, thank you guys for showing up and seriously holding it down in YouTube. I really appreciate that you guys are here. And I love that you ain't clowning me as much as people normally do when I'm on Nerd Soul's channel. Wish Stargate could have showed up, but you know, it's that kind of thing. But if you guys don't really want to make your opinions public and all that stuff, it's easy. Y'all can hit me up over on why is this my mouse is being a little wacky. Y'all can hit me up over on the Discord channel, and I'm putting an invitation right there. Badoom. All right, we got the Discord channel up, and you guys can also hit me up at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. You can also reach out to me on the social media that we all have and none of us like, being Twitter and Instagram. All right, look for us over on TikTok. You know, I put the announcements there like every day, so just follow us on all the social media. Share the information to your groups. Help me get more followers and subscribers and patrons so that I can keep doing this for and with you guys, and to really help out with the community outreach stuff. I wasn't asking for this before, but because it turns out there are certain crustaceans in my bloodline, and all of that on top of the 2 years that a lot of places have been closed down, and I guess you can say psychologically closed down due to COVID and the pandemic. I need more help now to keep doing the community outreach stuff than I ever have before. So thank you guys for being here. I want to give one massive shout out to my people in the chats, being Daryl and Antoine Allen over on YouTube, and over here on Twitch, that's Black and White Now in Color. It is niceable. Let's see, that's Juan Cabardo. LaKaylee, hey, welcome back, along with Lana Ray and Lori Pub, Miss Moozalot, Neon Arlecchino, I think that's Neon Uber, not a Mr. Beast contact. Oh, we have a new person, Rogue One Earl. Rogue Girl. Welcome, and thank you for being here, along with Vixbel Cosplay and holding it down like gravity, Clever Little Vixen. So, thank you guys for being here, and remember, it doesn't matter what your escapism is, be it role-playing games, comics, cosplay, tabletop miniatures games, all of that stuff. It doesn't matter. If anybody tells you that you can't do what you do because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, your disabilities, your neurodivergencies, or your budget, then you can tell any of them to take any of those cards and just put them back in the deck, all right? Because you're you, and you're a person, and a person has agency to choose the things they do, as long as the things they do don't stop another person doing what they would normally do. All right, so with that, I gotta say thank you guys, and join us tomorrow when DW McCann and I bust a recap on Moon Knight's finale, episode 6, and the series as a whole. That's tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, all right? And in the meantime, I guess I'll catch you guys later. May the 4th be with you. Use the 4th. The 4th has a light side and a dark side. The 4th is like duct tape. It has a light side and a dark side, and it binds the universe together. All right, and we will see you guys later. I'm Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer. Thank you.